So first question is rather general. We're not gonna get a lot from this, but I did use that question a lot when I was reading the feedback to know if you were someone who was already really happy with the game or someone that needed some, still wasn't convinced, or someone that did not really like it. It was useful to read the feedback and understand better. For example, someone who said 5, I'm going to take the feedback rather high priority because I know those people love the game. So I really want to make the game even more lovable for them. Doesn't mean I don't care about the other feedback. Actually, some of the people who are there give really useful feedback. So doesn't mean anything. Just important to know that I'm not trying, those people basically, I'm not trying to convince them. For me, I'm not gonna try to make them like the game. Maybe the game is just not for them, basically. Those people, yeah, I really want to get them from this 4 here to 5. They had a good time, but they didn't have a great time. I want them to have a great time. So basically, my main focus is this column. Everyone who put 4 out of 5, I want to really look at the feedback, understand why they didn't have a great time, and try to get them into the love, basically, the great time thing. But overall, we can say out of 119 responses, that's pretty good. I'm really happy with this. I'm really happy that nobody actually disliked, had a bad time or a very bad time. Some people did have an okay time, so it wasn't. But you know, that's bad basically. You want people to have a great time. They're not gonna buy your game if they don't have a great time. To be honest, like only those people are really gonna buy the game. Those people, do you buy a game that you think you're just gonna have a good time? No, you want games where you think you can have a great time. So yeah, I really want to get those people in here. And I think, well, we'll talk about this more later, but I did one interesting thing about this playtest. I'm not waiting for the end of the playtest to make changes. I changed the game as the playtest is running, meaning the new people get to experience the game with fixes, with things that the previous people didn't like, which makes the game better and clearly helps to have more people in here, because in the first half of the playtest, there was more people here than here. Well, I think they were about the same. So you can really see, like, yeah, now it's not the case. There's really more people in this node here. So it did help. So yeah, very good on this. Doesn't help that much like this, but it's still good to know that half the people who played the playtest had a great time, and 40% of what's remaining had a good time. So yeah, that's great. The second question is a bit weird. It's a bit... well, I'm French, and here in France, we don't really like to talk about money. So asking straight to someone like, would you buy this game for this? It's strange, but it's so useful. So basically here I'm just saying that we have like, what will be the final content of the game? Because in the demo you have one story level, one challenge, and one puzzle level, and access to the endless mode, the daily puzzles. So you can have a really good idea of how long the game is going to be, what it's going to be. So I think after you play the playtest, you have a good idea of what's the game going to be. So you can start to expect like what would be a price. So I asked for this one, which I'm going to tell you right away. This is not the price of the game. The price of the game has not been decided. This is just what me think could be a good price. The final price is going to be decided with my publisher. So I just wanted to know what people think about this. And And as you can see, 45% would buy the game right away at this price, which is great. Why great? Because the other half, basically, would buy it, but during a sale. And we all know sales happen. Usually there is a sale at release, the first week. So maybe all of those people would buy the game. Or maybe they're going to buy it a month later or 2 months later when there's going to be another sale. So that's pretty nice. Out of this 120 people share, not sure it... By the way, we forgot to do something. We should not look at the questions like this. I finished this one, and then we will go back because I really need to talk to you about the kind of players who played the playtest, because that's interesting to know if it's actually the target or not. But yeah, so really cool. People who say, I'm not interested in this game. Okay, well, fair. I don't really need to take that into account. It's just people who don't like the game, and that's fair. They're not going to buy it. And too expensive. There's still 7% of people who think it's too expensive. You know, it's fine because we all know at some point the game will be at like 50% less or something, or in a bundle. So those people are going to buy it at this point. The price of the game can only decrease, never increase. So you better be at the highest you can when you start, and then you slowly decrease it. So yeah, that was an interesting question. I'm happy when I see this. I think maybe 15 is maybe not enough. You know, I could see this number going to 16, maybe 17, without changing this too much. I don't think like $1 or $2 is going to change this too much. If you go into the 19 and 20, I think at this point you're going to have a lot more people that are going to be saying it's too expensive or are going to wait for a sale. But yeah, starting to have a good idea of what will be the final price. Before we go into the rest of the questions, I'm going to take a look at the end. Here you go. Because this is obviously important. Do you usually play strategy, management, or building games? 85% yes. Why is it important? Because this is the target of this game. Yeah. That's good. So, yeah, this is good because it means I'm testing my game with people who are the people I want to play my game. So that's cool. Still have 15% who are not playing those. Actually, their feedback was also very, very useful because I do want this game to be good for newcomers to the strategy genre. So it is useful to have this kind of feedback too. But as you can see, our population here, our testers, really are in our target, mainly in our target. Here we can also see that 60% never played Dawnfolk before. That's not great, because people who already played it, they're a bit biased because they played a worse version of this. So they mostly see the good thing about the game. Also, they're gonna understand how to play, so they won't have any issue like understanding the game. So it's gonna bias the question about the complexity, for example. I think it's biased because of this. So we still have a lot of people who never played, so it's still useful, but yeah, I would have preferred to have more people who didn't play the game. Also, I ask if people work in the game industry or consider yourself a hobbyist game developer. I know this can seem strange. The thing is, with the other playtest, I noticed game developers are not really good testers. Game developers have a hard time not giving their opinion about how your game should be. Doesn't mean it's not useful feedback, it just means you need to be very careful with this, because instead of telling you how they feel about the game, they're telling you how the game should be, because of their game design knowledge, their experience, or something like this. I do this too. It's hard to not do it. When you play a game, it's hard not to analyze the game. But you don't want people to analyze your game. Here, you want players to play the game and tell you how they feel about it. So that's why I asked this question. And as you can see, there is a fair share of game developers. I think that's because of my videos. You know, I do make content for game developers, so there is a fair share of game developers here. Still, it's still useful, but it's important to know. I like to know if it's a developer or not, because I know developers can be a bit biased. And they usually put worse notes. Not all the time, but usually. And yeah, that's the... We don't care about the rest. Well, look, I did increase the newsletter by quite a bit. I'm glad. Okay, let's go back now that you have the population. I actually did not take any notes. To be honest, that's okay. There's not a lot to get from this. The most important thing was the feedback, the written feedback. The notes here are not that important. I mean, they are, but yeah. So let me know what you liked and disliked. So that's an important one, because I'm gonna want to make what is loved better, if I can, but I don't really have to spend tons of hours on it. People already love it. I'm not gonna try to make it too much better. However, things that are liked and not loved, those are the things I'm gonna work on. So let's look at it in order. Gameplay. Really, it's hard to use that one. I put it just to have an overview, you know. But I can't really do anything with this. By the way, in the chat, if you think I'm wrong at any point with my analyze, or if you have just suggestions, please don't hesitate. I'm not a professional playtest organizer, and maybe I can actually do things with those data. So gameplay here is, yeah, people like it or love it. Mostly equal here. It's so large, I can't really do anything with this data. I can see a few people disliked or did not care, like 2 people. So basically nobody. That basically means, I think that's like almost the same as, you know, how did you have a good time? Kinda. It's kind of the same question here. So yeah, still cool to see this though. Most people like the gameplay. Great, I'm not gonna change it, so great. The sounds. So here we can definitely see we have a let loss love, we have likes, and did not care. Way more did not care. Sounds are okay. I did have some feedback about how great the sounds were, and how they loved like having the sounds for the tiles and stuff. However, there are still tiles where, you know, I just put up something together very quickly to have something ready. Like all the forests sounds like the same forest. Some transition are not great. And I think it's also missing a few sounds, hence why some people maybe did not care, because maybe they didn't really notice the sound, which can be great. It's not like a huge issue. I'm okay with people not noticing the sounds. That's perfectly fine. I want them to enjoy the game, not listening to it. So yeah, here I think we can already like. I think here it's fix, like add more variety in the sounds and add sounds to things that don't have sounds. Let me make that into a list, actually. Okay. So it's kind of obvious, but yeah, that's the main issue here. Some cells, some tiles in the game really have the same sounds, and they could be so much better. And I know they could be. I'm just keeping that from the end of development. Like those are going to be the last tweaks, the last things I'm going to do. And yeah, same thing here. Like every time you destroy a building, it's always the same sound. Even if you burn it, it's like pap, 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 which doesn't make sense, you know. And also, I think one thing that really needs a rework, though, is reworking the minigame sounds. Because some of them, I think people who put here did not care or like. That also, I did read a few feedback where people were like, that sound hurt my ear so much. Because some sounds were very loud and very aggressive, and like you would have them a lot in a few seconds, like in the sword minigame. And overall, I definitely need some kind of audio mastering. Right now, I really flaunt the sound in there and kind of eyeball the volume or earball. I don't know how you say this for the ears. But yeah, I need at some point to master everything, check out the sounds, make sure that they all have the good audio levels and stuff. And I think that's going to help a lot, putting maybe some of those people who liked and put them into the love section. Well, that's strange to say. Visuals. Yeah, I don't have anything for visuals, you know. I think, you know, but it's planned for the end of the game that I'm gonna do a lot more polish on the animations and the lights, basically, and add more visual variety. So, for example, all the houses will not be exactly the same. All the tiles won't be exactly with the same trees at the same place, because that's currently the case. Like every forest is the same, like exactly the same. So I think just doing this will help a lot of people going from like to love. Just because it's gonna look even more cute and better, like with the little lights and everything. Right now, a lot of buildings don't even have lights. I don't know, like the mine, for example. It's like, yeah, it's black in here and there's no light. It's so sad. There's no activity. There's nothing like maybe some smoke or I don't know, something that show you there is some kind of activity, maybe rocks or chariots going out and in, you know, some activity basically. One that is good for this, for example, and that not a lot of people will see. The sawmill, yeah, I did this, which is fun. Yeah. Visually, it's fun to have this. It makes it a little more live. It has light, but it's always on. Maybe it could, you know, move a little, have an intensity that changes. And yeah. So I think I know this. This is planned. I'm gonna work more on this. The music is an interesting one. So, yeah, we don't have a lot of love for the music. And we do have a lot of did not care. And I did read a few times, like, I didn't even pay attention to the music, which is... So in the case of music, I'm actually perfectly fine with having did not cares. For me, the music here is just to put you into the ambience, and I don't want you to disturb you. It's a strategy game. I don't want it to be like distracting you from the game, and I want the sounds to be more in front. And that's actually what's happening, as we can see. Sounds are definitely more in front than music. However, there's only one thing for music. Add more of them. Because currently, there is a 1 minute loop, basically. 1 minute and a half, maybe. And it's the same looping like this. So if you play 30 minutes, you're gonna hear 30 times that loop. And there is repetition in the loop. It's not like the loop is changing during 1 minute and 30 minutes. It's in 30 seconds. It's like really 3 small patterns of music that repeats. And yeah. So music is going to be mostly about adding more of them. The music of the game currently, I did this in 1 day, maybe 2. Maybe 2. And it's the same music since like 2 years ago, like since the first version I pushed. I didn't add any music since then. I'm gonna read a comment here. It could be nice if the music could have a Minecraft vibe. Like you don't really notice it until it starts at the right time to convey a very nice feeling. Hi, by the way. Yeah, dear. Well, I'm happy to read this. At the same time, I'm a bit sad because that's kind of the thing I wanted to have. Like I did want like the piano sound and stuff. This is all Minecraft. Like when I write the first music, I was like, I want to have the Minecraft vibe, like very like peaceful, slow, in the back. So maybe that's something I can do better. But I remember also in for the ones who played Death Stranding, I think maybe what's missing, yeah, maybe more music, but maybe more silence. It's gonna be strange, but you know, like what you just said about Minecraft, sometimes the music gets very silent, very discreet, and then all of a sudden there's something coming up and you hear it, and that could be something cool. For example, when the storm arrives currently, I just increase the high pitch of the music, which really works, to be honest. Like, it's the same music. I'm not changing the music. It's just high pitched and fast, and it's stressful. It works. But maybe when it starts raining in the game, you know, every 10 days before a storm, the rain starts. Maybe the music stops for a few days. Maybe you don't have any music. And then the music comes back and it have a stronger impact on the player. And the same way you have in Minecraft, where you're just playing, you're not noticing it. And all of a sudden, there is like those piano notes or this melody that you're going to keep in your head that's starting. And it felt like there was nothing before that. So maybe more silence, like before the storms and stuff. Maybe we don't need to have music all the time in the game. I need to experiment with that, especially because of all the sounds. Maybe it could even put the sounds in the front even more to just pause the music sometime. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna show you something. A gift from my mom. I'm secretly working on a few music. So my whole thing is gonna be to use one instrument for all the music, by music. One, maybe two max. I don't want too many instruments. I want it to be very minimalist. 1 or 2 music will be done with this. It's a kalimba. I'm gonna do music with this for the game, like, for sure. This is gonna be used. See, there is a jack. So I'm really gonna, think I'm gonna record it live with this, so it's more organic. Like, I'm pretty sure people can feel it when it was recorded like this versus like, because of the imperfection and stuff, versus if I record it, if I use, you know, software. So, and yeah, I was saying this because this can only play melodies, basically. So I think, yeah, melody is going to be key here. It's going to be all about the melody and maybe a few notes in the back, just, you know, filling the emptiness. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on with the thing that is the most controversial about my game. The mini games. So, as you can see, this is where we start to have really, like, we have more people that just don't like them. And yeah, that's the least loved things. I mean, it's basically the same as music and event. But if we took the numbers, it is the least loved things. A lot of people like them, but they don't love them. I think that's the main issue here with the mini games. I don't really care about those people. Either because it's not a game for them. If they want 100% strategy, they should go play a 100% strategy game. Or I did put the option, they can disable the mini games. If they just accept that, you know, it's not the intended way to play the game, but if that's how they prefer to play, I'm okay giving them the option, even though I consider this option more for accessibility than for taste. For me, if you don't like the mini games, you know, don't buy this game, just go play another one. It's part of this game to be able to have those little moments of recreation, of skill, like with your little hands, you do something funny. You're not only thinking and pressing buttons to place buildings. So here, what I get from this is really like, so it is controversial. Some people are not gonna like it, so I think it's important to keep that option to disable them. However, a lot of people like them, so I really want to put them in love, and I really need to add more mini games. Just, you know, for variety and keeping it fresh. Include the mini games even more in the main loop, meaning, okay, let me do something because that could be a problem. Before including them more in the main loop, not overdoing the mini games. I had a lot of feedback about, yeah, I like them, but there's too many and it feels repetitive. And the number one reason was the storms. I actually changed this during the playtest, but you know, when a storm is, oh, thank you for the raid. I'm just gonna finish the explanation and I'm gonna say hi to you guys properly. But thank you for the raid, Smalls the Kobold, and I hope your stream was great. What are you working on? So, yeah, I was talking about the storms. Oh, by the way, did you notice how I changed my my debug tool here? It's a bit better now. Let's jump to see, I can now select the quest, which is way better. Let's go there. Let's disable the... So when the storms comes up like this, before you had to play minigames for each of the offsprings like this. And now you don't. You only play minigames for the storms. Oops. I disabled the minigames here, but you get the point. So less minigames. And the real problem here was that you will have to play a lot of minigames in like a few minutes, which is not the intention. In my game, I want you to play minigames once every 2 to 3 minutes, something like this. You're not supposed to play 5 minigames in 1 minute. So, and the storms were the main reason, I think. So that's fixed. And actually, I really need to redo some kind of balancing to make sure that you're not gonna hunt too much. You're not gonna chop down forest too much. You even don't need to chop down the forest. Actually, maybe you saw it in one of my tweets, but now you can burn forests and it's free. You don't use any people to burn the forest because, as you can see now, it's cost a lot more people to chop down forests. That's one of the balancing I made. It is not cheap to raise a forest, but you can burn it. You don't get any materials, but you can burn it. So see, I found ways to make sure you don't do those actions too many times so that you don't have the minigames too many times. And when I say I want to include the minigames more in the main loop, what I mean is they need to be even more important so that there are even more meaningful to play. And they are linked with everything else. So for example, there's going to be a building that a few science buildings that will improve your minigames. So for example, you will get a better bow if you build the hunter cabin or something. If you build the barracks, you will have a double sword instead of a single sword, and 2 shields instead of 1 shield. So it will change the minigame. It will be fun. Some buildings will make appear, for example, if you fish and you have the galleon boat, you will be able to fish bigger fish, which will go in a more difficult way to get them, but they will bring you more food. So the minigame will be impacted like this. So for everyone who just arrived, I'm Darren. I'm the solo developer of Dawnfolk, this game right here. You can go on Steam, wishlist it, everything. I think there are links in my bio and description, everything. And there is a demo that you can play, and which is going to be updated very soon. What is this? I'm not sure. Oh, okay, my publisher. I mean, okay, the page was not updated at all. That's why. Okay, so here's the page. Oh, and here's us. We have people watching us on Steam, actually. Incredible. So yeah, I'll let you look at the trailer if you want to see more about what's the game about, because I'm really focusing today on... I run a playtest those past 2 weeks, and here I'm really focusing on analyzing the playtest with you guys. So if you want to learn more about the game itself, just take a look at the trailer. It's a city builder, survival city builder. It's cute, but it's dark. It's easy. It's relaxing, but it's actually hard if you want it to be hard. And it's about bringing light back to the world and fighting darkness. Okay. Let me take a look. I love tuning into new dev stream and seeing how deep people are in the project. This thing looks near complete. Thank you. It's actually near complete. I do have a lot of work to do, but it's releasing soon. like early 2025, like early. I'm not gonna say more. And yeah, playtest data is super fun and useful. And for example, one thing that also I'm going to change, remember the church? When you build a church, you can pray to get light. Now you can't. You need to upgrade the church into a temple, which makes the temple even more useful and the upgrade even more meaningful, because you will get that new minigame that is just if you build that temple. Not everybody was using the praying, so I think it's a very good candidate to be something optional that you have to choose. If that's something you like, it's something you basically like. It's not related to the minigame, but I'm really trying with the science that I really want each science building to change the way you play this particular game by changing things like, for example, the houses. Now you won't be able to upgrade your tents into houses right away. You will need to build the carpentry to be able to upgrade your houses. You see what I mean? And it's going to change the game so much, because if you can't build houses, you need more room. If you can't build houses, well, you can have a stronger city that is smaller. So, yeah. Let me read your comments while I continue to eat my pumpkin pie. Hey, sure, Julian Singh. Thank you for passing by, and no worries, there will be the VOD. You'll be able to watch it. That's a cool upgrade because the temple wasn't very useful, to be honest. Well, it depends. You know, I did hear some people telling me the temple is too strong. And I would say a lot of people make the temple as a first upgrade, simply because of the light it gives. I'm also reworking the light science building because very too strong. very strong, because the goal of the game is to get light. And, you know, every building will give you a bonus of production of food, people, materials, but you want people, food, and materials to get light in the end. So any building that can give you directly light is very strong compared to the other ones. So those buildings are going to change a lot too. They're going to be a little less strong, but they're going to give you cool advantages. For example, I like the pyramid because it allows you to irrigate deserts, which is a cool effect. Yeah, this is the type of thing I'm going to do. For example, I'm going to have the forester lodge, which allows you to grow forests back, which is also very cool. And I'm going to add other effects that will play with other mechanics of the game you didn't see before. Maybe you saw my tweet. The watchtower now is also going to reduce your chance of having bad events. And that's something I never touched before in the game. I did a lot of brainstorming, and I was trying to find cool buildings to add. And yeah, I saw that, yeah, the probability of having good and bad events could be something that I can use in the science building. So you build a watchtower, you get a little more light, protection from orcs, elves, pirates, and you're less likely to have bad events. When I mean less likely, it's not going to be a probability. It's just going to be like bad events can happen every 20 days, I think. I'm just going to make it like 40. So you're going to have twice less bad events. So yeah, those things, yeah, I think the sense building are going to be great. But yeah, that's not the point here. We're talking about the mini games. I think I don't use it because I'm more used to playing endless mode. So I'm using only science for long-term upgrade, which is not the way the game is intended for story mode. Yeah! Yeah, there's definitely some upgrades that are very good, like, for the whole game. Like, I'm pretty sure if you're like me, you must be building the carpentry all the time, right? Because even though you're not really sure how much resources you can get from it, I think everyone knows that if you build it right away and you can save some resources on all your buildings, this is huge. So that's the one I build all the time. And that's why it's going to change. I'm sorry. It's going to be less strong now. It's going to be strong because it will allow you to build houses. And it's going to be like a good house, like it's going to give you some resources too. But it's not going to reduce the price of everything right away. No. That's no. Okay. Next, the event choices. So I'm a bit surprised by this one because it actually looks a bit like the mini games. So I did see a lot of people, like people who love them, very love them. They told me in the feedback, I love this. I think here the events, there's two things I want to do. First thing, I really want to add more of them. Currently, there is about, if I remove all the events that are here for tutorials and stuff, I think there's about 25 events, something like this. So if you play the game, and you're not, some events, for example, happens only if you do the market, which is an optional building. So a lot of people will never build it and will never see that event. So a lot of events, a lot of people would have very few events. And the one who has event, maybe they would have the same events again and again, which is not great. So obviously we want more events. And I also want more meaningful effects. So I'm not gonna lie, my goal with events was not to change the game too much. It was more to add a little bit of story, make the world a little more lively. So I did see a few feedback that were like, I don't feel like my choices in the events are really interesting because it's like, do I want this resource or this resource? It's actually true. It's kind of like that. It's all about resources. So I'm going to try to make events that are more about other things. Like the science building. Maybe there is an event that will allow you to gain 1 science point. Could be cool. Maybe there is an event that will allow you to... well, I did it yesterday. There is an event that will make all the animals disappear from the map, so you can't hunt. This kind of thing, this kind of events, not... And there's not really a choice here, but, it could be also to make a choice between, okay, our people don't want to work too much, so you're gonna have to choose between hunting and fishing. I don't know why, but you're gonna have to choose. So that could be those kind of events, more meaningful event effects and choice. And I was gonna... My camera, I feel... Let me check the OBS just to make sure. Yeah, you still see me. I was gonna say something about the events. Because I added one that was interesting yesterday. Let me take a look at my history. Oh no, it was 2 days ago. I didn't work yesterday. I don't remember. Maybe I did it. I think I didn't commit it. It was just an ID I read somewhere. But okay. Let's just say. What was it? What was it? I don't remember. Yeah, never mind. But yeah, more stuff with the events. Yeah, okay, let's move on. I'm upset. I'm not remembering the thing. The main menu. Also something that, yeah, 9 disliked. It's the most, this is actually the most disliked thing. The main menu. I know for some of you it's gonna sound crazy because I'm pretty sure some of you feel like the menu is pretty cool. But you know, other people feel like they don't want a menu that is hard to understand. And this one is not conventional. So it is harder to understand than other menus. It is a bit messy. And they just don't like this. They want the classic menu, like every game. Which I understand. This game is not for them then, basically. So, again, I don't really care that people dislike or did not care. I would care if it was like 50%. if it was like more than 30-40% of people who disliked the main menu, whoa, yeah, I would start thinking about removing it. But yeah, as you can see, that's not the case. People like it. It's unique. It's memorable. People are going to remember that menu. I'm pretty sure people are going to remember that menu for a long time because that's the first thing you see. I never saw a game doing that before. I hope nobody did it because I did share this a few times on Reddit and I did see developers saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do the same with my game. It's also a city builder. So I hope I'm not going to be like, I still want to be the first one to do this. Actually, maybe someone already did it before me. But yeah, anyway, the point is players are going to be like, wow, I never saw that. And I just like this. I'm going to remember the game. Maybe not even for the gameplay or anything, but for just this menu, like this first step into the game. I did improve the menu a little bit. Let me show you. I need to remove the save file because that's something that appears only the first time you play. So as you can see now, there is a tutorial in the menu. Ignore the downloading translations. That's because I'm in debug mode. So now there's something to tell you how to move around and to open something. So that's just something, you know, to help still those few people who had some difficulty to understand the menu at first. It's not great, it's not big, but yeah, it's still something, you have some indication here. The HUD and UI. So yeah, main menu, I don't really have anything. I mean, I did the tutorials. Some people suggested, you know, more detailed menu, more complicated menu, things to know what you can press on and stuff. It's useless. It's useless. You're gonna, the player is gonna press on the button, and it's the goal that it's a mess, and it's fine. Like, it's not unusable. It's gonna be a mess if you press every button, but it's your problem if you do that. So yeah, as you can see, still people like it. I was hoping for more love. I'm not gonna lie. Well, actually, this is a lot of love. Yeah, this is a lot of love. Yeah, so the HUD. This is complex. Same thing as with the main menu. I don't really want to change my HUD too much. Because it was hard to make a HUD that works for a game, a strategy game with a gamepad that I want to work perfectly on small screens. It was hard. And I didn't want the classic mouse game with tons of menus and you click on something and you have all the buildings and everything. So obviously some people are frustrated, like they want to build a tavern, but they don't understand, maybe they forgot that a tavern can be built only next to a tent or a house. So if you don't go next to it, you won't see it appear. This kind of thing. Like, one thing I could do is this wiki encyclopedia thing, but I'm really not sure I'm gonna do. I'm planning on adding a few wiki entries in the game for the most special things, like how the animals breed, how they spawn, like what are the rules for them to spawn, how the storms works, something like this, like very precise things. I don't want to talk about every building because it's very complex. Someone asked in the feedback at some point, I want to be able to see with which building this building can have an adjacency bonus. And I would be like, that's crazy, because it has an adjacency bonus with like 11 buildings. How am I supposed to tell you that? I would be like, I would need to show you 11 buildings on the screen to tell you that's the adjacency bonus. No, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna learn and you're gonna remember. That's fine. And if you don't remember, you can actually play the game and, you're still gonna win if you're not playing in the other difficulty. So yeah, a wiki encyclopedia to, help maybe understand this better tutorials, and, clearer icons. I think those would be the best thing. Let me show you something. One of the things that I changed, we're going to see it. We should be able to see it. I'm going to re-enable the dialogues. So one thing I did. Okay, so we have the classic open action menu on the right, but now you can see production per day. And that's gonna be here for a while, until you finish the tutorial, basically. So if I move around, nothing here, nothing here. If I press it, the action menu, so I have my close action menu. By the way, did you notice now you can close it by pressing the down arrow only on the keyboard, because on the gamepad it was confusing. You could close it by mistake, especially if you play with the stick. However, on the keyboard, you're not going to do this, and pressing escape is not great. So now you can close it with down arrow. And as you can see at the top, again, production per day and cost and reward. Just to really tell you, that's what it means. And it's going to appear for a few until you completed until the first storm. You're gonna have this, just to put this in your mind, and then it's gonna disappear. You can also see at the bottom, I changed the timer. I put it back to a clock because at this resolution, it's way easier for me to have a clock that turns to show you time passing. I like the hourglass thing, but at my resolution, it was not great. I couldn't show you the time passing very well. So I came back to a clock. There's so many unique things in this game that sometimes I need to not be unique. I need to be like straightforward so that people can understand. Let's build a few things because there's going to be another tutorial at some point. So yeah, pass the... Oh yeah, at the top, total production, total reserve. That also increased. At the moment, I'll tell you to produce more work, folks. I'm showing you this. Same thing is going to be there for 2 quests, I think. If I build this, it's still there. And if I do this quest, it's still there, but if I skip a turn, it's not there anymore. So yeah, it stays for a little while. So yeah, those are improvements I already made for the HUD. So I think this is pretty much covered. I also changed the science because it looked like a bottle of water. So I changed the color. So yeah, that was fun. Coming back to the main menu, as I said, the game is pretty unique, especially the main menu. So one thing I did, I mean, I'm trying to not be unique in every way. So you might have noticed in the main menu, I changed the names, for example, of the game modes, just to make sure people clearly understand what each game mode is. Remember before it was Settler, Survivor, DT, which is not very clear that this is difficulty levels unless you played Civilization. So I changed that to easy, normal, hard. But it didn't work either, because some people would play in normal and said the game was too hard, instead of playing in relaxing, like in easy. But since it's easy, they don't really want to play easy. They want the normal experience. So it wasn't a great name, the normal. That's why at first I didn't want this. So here's the new name, relaxing. So, if you're not looking to get your butt kicked by storms and stuff, you're playing this mode. You're gonna have the same quests. You're gonna have the obstacles, but everything is gonna be it's gonna be weaker. So you're gonna have the full experience. It's just gonna be way easier, and honestly, it's very hard to lose. It's more about finishing the level than losing or not. Challenging is gonna be hard. You can lose. Storming stuff is are a real obstacle. Like it is a real challenge, and it is going to be stressful. Impossible is going to be impossible. It's going to be really, really hard. Yeah, that's the big challenge. So yeah, that's one thing I changed because it does sounds more like experiences you want to go to. Okay. Let's keep going. The controls. So one other important data to look at is how did you play? And as we can see, most people played with a keyboard, but a fair share of people played with the gamepad, and even we have 8% of people who played on the Steam Deck. So that's important to consider. I did pay attention to this data when looking at how they like the controls. And people with the gamepad, they love it. Mostly. Like, that's that. The people here and maybe here, you can be sure those are the people with the gamepad. The people here and here, those are the people who play with the keyboard on the PC and wanted mouse control, which I added. Seriously, guys, I did the mouse control and it wasn't fun. I don't like this, but you can go in controls and enable the mouse. I do tell you that it's for convenience and accessibility, and that some things will still require the keyboard. that this is not the intended way to play, and that you, yeah, use the gamepad or keyboard for the best experience. But yeah, it works. You can play the game with the mouse, but I don't really like this. So, but it's there. You know, at least my real reason, the real reason I'm adding it is for accessibility, as I said. Some players might not be able to press the buttons. They can maybe they just have a pointer peripheral. Like, maybe it's not a mouse, but you know, a pointer or something, or maybe a touch screen. Maybe that's the only way they can play. So having the mouse control working, it's not great. Seriously, it's not great, but it's working. So you can definitely play the game with the mouse. And I remember, and that was funny because I added it, and instead of receiving, "Oh, I wish there was mouse control," I started receiving, "Oh, I wish the mouse controls were better." And that obviously that was to be expected. That was to be expected. I knew it would be like this, and that's why I never added it, because I would be like, mouse controls is gonna be crap on this game, because if I want to do this properly, I need to change everything. Like the whole HUD, the whole way I'm thinking about the game, the whole way I'm thinking about the player position on the map, how it works with the camera. Just for the mouse controls, I did have to create a completely new script of the camera and a secondary player thing. Like, yeah. So it would take way more time to make this really fun with the mouse. Or even, it would be even worse with a touchscreen. So yeah, but at least it's there for accessibility, and I guess I will be receiving comments of people saying the mouse controls are not great, even though I know, because I'm telling you when you click on it that this is not great. Yeah, but it's there. But so most people, for example, the keyboard. I did have a few people complaining about the escape key, so that's why I did the down key, so it's a bit easier. And those were basically the only complaints I had about the controls. There were a few more, but I don't think there is anything I can do for the controls now. Some people also complain because, for example, on Steam Deck, there is a bug with the D-pad, and some people also had issues with the Nintendo Switch controller and the PS4 controller, I think. So obviously, I'm pretty sure they did not like all of the control because it wasn't working great for them. So, I mean, fix the controls for Steam Deck and other controllers. Like, that's basically the main thing. I think the current controller are already pretty great. Someone even asked me, why do you move when you use Z and I don't remember, but yeah, what do you move up when you press Z? Why do you do this? This is strange. I was surprised because I was like, because not everyone has a QWERTY keyboard. I'm French, but well, my keyboard is QWERTY, but I'm a developer and everything, so I guess that's, you know, I'm not 90% of the population in this case, but here in my country, everyone uses an RZT keyboard, so that's why all the keys for movements also works for RZT. So obviously, I'm not going to change this. We're not going to look, guys. Obviously, we're not going to look at the writing feedback. We're still going to look at the other things, but not those, okay? Because we don't want to read all of this. It was really long. It was really, really hard. Let's keep going. So, did you like the story level Last Hope? And this is where it gets funny. Notice how when we talk about the whole game, we have more love than when we talk about this level specifically, which is funny. We also have more more did not have a good time, and even people who didn't like it. Straight up. So if I were really to do anything about this, I already did a few things. I made the easy mode easier, because it was not really that easier before. Now it's really, really easier. And I made the normal mode harder. So the difficulty was better, basically. One thing that people didn't like is that it was very long, apparently. At the same time, some people complained it was too fast and they couldn't finish their city. So it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, what I can get from this level is that I might want to make it shorter because it's the tutorial level. I think there's also a lot of text, like a lot of Lua talking to you and trying to explain the game, and that could be disruptive a little bit. And since it's the first level, if you don't know how to play, it can be a little bit of a problem. Otherwise, it's fine. But to be honest, to make those guys going there, except modifying the speed and the difficulty, I can't really do much more. I mean, it is a simple level. It is the first one. It is just about building a city, discovering the storms. You have those little bits of story. You have the events. Can't really make that much better. So it's still good for a first level. The thing is, I hope it's not going to decrease over the other levels. I see that with the next closed playtest. Yeah, I'm really hoping this will, because if I keep this for all the levels, I'm fine. 40% of people love it, so I'm fine. But I just hope it's not gonna, you know, I hope it gets better. But yeah, I think people didn't really tell me like why it was not fun for them this level. They mostly told me about problems they had. So yeah, I hope that I removed a lot of frustrations. I hope this will make the level more enjoyable, especially for those people. Maybe, I mean, yeah, gonna love it. I hope. I mean, that's my last hope. So what difficulty did you choose? Look how interesting this is. 40% of people played in easy. Incredible. I mean, I find this incredible because I'm so not an easy player. Like, I never pick the easy mode in the games. So it's always surprising to me when I realize that my game, people actually like to play my game without the stress and without the being too much into the calculations and stuff. I mean, this game needs to have things for people who want to play in a relaxed manner. So that's what I think the relaxed mode is going to be perfect for this. I mean, the relaxing mode. I really want it to be relaxing because, yeah, those guys are looking for the easy mode. Some people played in normal, but wanted the easy, but did not realize they wanted the easy. They did not realize normal would be hard, you know, and with some pressure. However, we still have a lot more people playing the normal mode, like twice more. So obviously, for me, this is the main mode. This is going to be the tricky one to balance. This one it's hard to balance because I'm going to put it very hard, but I need to be able to beat it to make sure it's actually beatable. So that's why it's going to be hard. And this one is going to be hard to make sure it's actually, you know, it still needs to be beatable. Like, you don't have to, I don't want you to lose your first game. Like, I want you to be able to beat every level on normal difficulty on the first try, basically. But I want you to have some challenge. So yeah, this one is going to be the hardest mode to balance. But as you can see, it's also the most important of them all. Then we have Bat Fever. Important thing to note here, only half the players played the level Bat Fever. So yeah, obviously the responses here are going to be less significative, less meaningful, because I have less people responding to it. But overall, what I understand from this level, so some people just loved it because it was roguelike and because they liked the twist. Some people liked it, but the thing is, they liked it, but they felt like the twist was a bit frustrating. And the people here, you can be 100% sure, they didn't like at all the fact that they had a random elimination of a cell. So the thing is, it's still the point of the Bat Fever game, that it's random and you can't really choose. So what I did is, I did it during last stream, actually. No, I don't remember, but during a stream I did it somewhere. Now it's not completely random. It's going to be around the place you're illuminating. See? It's always around this, and at some point it's going to be on this. Here you go. So it took a few tries, but yeah. It's less random than before. If you trying to eliminate here, it's not going to eliminate right here like it would do before. Now it's way more likely that you're going to eliminate there. So I think that helps because it's still random, so people are still going to like the twist. But it's still, you're still able to control a little bit how you're going to progress. But it's still, I still needed to eliminate 8 cells before getting the one I wanted. So, you know, it's not easy, but yeah, it's a little more doable. And I think that was the main issue with Bat Fever, to be honest. Like, I don't think there's anything I need to change for this level. It's pretty good as it is. Yeah. Industrialist. Look at this, how strange this is. So Industrialist is the puzzle level. So for those of you who don't remember, the puzzles are the very short levels where you have all of the resources and you just have that goal here of producing resources. Like, you need to optimize and build the best city. So, you know, PuzzleBot is really different from the main game. So a lot of people were like, yeah, that's not what I want to play, basically. In this city builder, I don't want to do this. Some people were like, yeah, that's 100% what I wanted to play. I didn't want to have to plan for my survival and have storms to beat. I just want to build those tiny cities that are really optimized to do one thing. So that's why you can see a lot of loves, actually way more than I thought I would have. But also, yeah, like in the middle, a lot of people were frustrated because they didn't know how to solve the puzzle. Some people couldn't get more than the bronze medal. So they were very frustrated. Basically, everyone who didn't get the bronze medal were in here, basically. You know, same thing with Bat Fever. Basically, I noticed when someone didn't win, they put a bad note. Which is, you know, it's normal, I guess. Like, we humans, we don't really like things we don't win. So that's something to take into account here. But yeah, otherwise, I'm really happy with this. I mean, this is bonus. This is for people who really like the main game and just want more. Same thing with the challenges, by the way. Those are also bonus for me. Those are just for people who want to dig deeper into the game. So, yeah. I don't... So yeah, I did change a few things. For example, I changed a few UI stuff. I also changed, like, now you can destroy some science building, because some people were... Basically, the main frustration with this mod was that they had to restart all the time, and that they had to illuminate the tiles all the time. So now, the tiles are already illuminated, except for one puzzle, where it is important. So that's a hint. Too bad. That's a hint for them, because they're going to be like, hey, why is it dark for this one? Never mind. I mean, maybe not everyone is going to get it. And now you can destroy some science buildings, so you don't have to, if you build a science building by mistake, you don't have to remove it. You don't have to retry the level just because you built something wrong. So you can destroy it and rebuild it elsewhere, or rebuild something else. Not for every building, obviously, because if you build the pyramid, otherwise you could build the pyramid, irrigate a few desert tiles, and destroy it to build something else. So yeah, someone asked me in the feedback if it was normal that you couldn't build the pyramid. Yes, it is. For your own good, it is. The only thing I think I can still do with the puzzle maybe is lure that gives hints. A lot of people were frustrated that I didn't give hints for this. But seriously, I'm not sure about this. I'm really not sure I want to give hints. Those are puzzles. I want the people that are going to play this. I mean, if you just want to chill, you're going to have the bronze medal. There's no issue. If you want the gold, no, I'm not going to give you any hints. That's like... It's for people who like to solve those sort of things. So, yeah, I think some players are going to be frustrated that they don't know how to do this. But, yeah, that's also why it's fun. You have to experiment and understand mechanics of the game in a way deeper than in the actual story mode. We are almost done. Daily puzzles allow you to gain blue light points every day. Ideally, I add a leaderboard so you can compete for the best score. Would you play daily puzzles? So the reply here is what I was hoping for. So for 35%, yes, but I won't come back only to play them. So that's good. That's what I was expecting. That would be I was hoping for this one, actually. Because, yeah, some people could just say no. And still, 13% of them said no. Seriously? A good part say, yeah, I will come back to just to play them and earn points, which is awesome, because that's the point of daily puzzles, is to get you to play the game a little bit every day. And give you something new every day. So that's the point. So I'm glad some people will try to do it. And I have a big share of maybe. So I'm gonna say maybe. To be honest, maybe is this, I think. Mostly. Like, they are likely to play it if they arrive on the game, but they will never come back just to play it. Otherwise, they would have said yes. Okay? If they say maybe, this is mostly this one, but they're not sure they're going to play all the time. So yeah, I'm not going to change anything about this. Yeah, I'm going to change one thing. I'm just going to make the daily puzzle harder. And basically, it's just a better generation of the daily puzzle, because currently they are really easy. So sometimes it does feel like a grind. So yeah, I'm gonna make this harder. And yeah, the leaderboard could really help on this level. Anytime you beat a level or optional objective, you gain blue light. So that's the new mechanic that I added for the progression of the game. So the game is no longer linear. You choose where you want to go. You can use it to explore and unlock the tiles in the main menu. Did you like it? That's just what I wanted to know because that was new. And I wasn't sure people will, like this. I was afraid some people would prefer to be very guided, like you unlock this and this and this and this, or maybe have everything at the start. Fortunately, most people liked it, so I'm good to go. I'm good to go with this. I'm keeping this progression thing. I don't need to change anything. I just need to finish it because it's not balanced. But yeah, that's great. Fun fact for you guys of the playtest who thought that, so some players thought that because if you play in playtest mode, is playtest, is demo. So the price of everything is like 99999, except for the levels. Oh yeah, obviously I unlocked everything, so too bad. But yeah, the price is 999 except for the levels I want you to play. The price is lower. But actually, a lot of players thought that those were the actual price, and that I was asking them to farm the levels to get to 999, which is crazy. So yeah, I thought everyone would understand that 999 was just to say you're not gonna play this level. Like this is the demo. You're not gonna play this. Yeah. Maybe it was because it was a playtest. Maybe if it's just a demo, maybe people will get that, yeah, it's just a demo, so you're not gonna play the whole game in the demo. The game difficulty. I'm so glad to hear that because even though I saw a lot of feedback talking about how easy, too easy it was or how too hard it was, still, most people said it was just right for them. I'm so glad because the game uses, especially the first level, uses dynamic difficulty. So I'm not really telling you this, but yeah, a lot of things happens behind the scenes to make sure that if the game is too easy on you, I'm going to throw at you bigger stuff. If the game is too hard on you, if you're a little slow, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait before throwing stuff at you. So that's to make sure you don't have a bad time, but you still have some challenges. So yeah, just right. And we have, yeah, some people say it was easy. Some people say it was hard. We always have those. And like 1% say too easy, 2% says too hard. So yeah. So I'm not gonna change anything. We already talked about this with the difficulty thing here. Yeah, I think the idea is just that the challenging mode is going to be real hard, like not hard, but harder, challenging. And the easy mode is going to be very easy. So I think those people who said it was too hard, they're going to play in relaxing mode and it's not going to be too hard. People who played easy, I hope they're going to play now in challenging. And now that I know that I can make it hard, because I know for sure people who don't want to be beaten, they're gonna go the relaxing path. So I can be sure I can go a little farther. I can go a little harder in the difficulty of the challenging mode. Understanding the game and how to play was so majority of simple, but still. And very simple. So basically it was very simple, but we still have about 1/4 of the people who said a bit complicated. So when I was watching the feedback, I think most of the people who said a bit complicated were people who are not used to play to city builders. So that makes sense. Or people that were more in the cozy gaming community. So maybe they are not familiar with the fact that you have to manage your resources so precisely. and the fact that I don't tell you a lot of things. I let you decide. I tell you a few things to get you going, but I don't tell you like everything. You really have to figure out a lot of things by yourself. So, but that's good results. I'm not adding anything because I think those things are going to fix this. Like people who find it a bit complicated. I did add more tutorials. I think it's going to help. I did change a few icons, so I think it's going to help too. I think it's already enough to get those people into the simple zone. How did you play? I think we're done. Yeah, we're done. Whew. I talked a lot. I think the stream was already 2 hours, right? You guys were pretty silent today. I hope I was not too boring. Obviously, I'm not creating a game, so maybe it was more boring than the usual stream. But I hope it was still interesting to see this. I know a lot of playtesters ask for the VOD of this to be able to watch this. They want to see the results. I would be the same. I would be very interested in the results. Oh, before we left, we didn't talk about the story. Yeah, so, you know, this is not a story game. This is not a narrative game. I never saw that game as a game that you're gonna play because you want to discover an incredible story. I do have a story because I feel like a story is always a good thing to have in games. It's what, you know, keeps you going to the next level. You're not only going to the next level to have new challenges or to see new things. You also want to progress in the story and know how it's gonna, and learn stuff. So I do have that. But no, I'm not gonna have crazy plot twist with crazy dialogue and stuff. Like, it's pretty... So people still love it. A lot of people did not care, which I get, because you could definitely play this game without caring about the story. And that's what I want. I want you to be able to enjoy the levels without caring very much about what's happening. Still, obviously, I think this is hard to judge because it's only the first level. You have no story in the challenge mode and you have no story in the puzzle mode. So you only have the level 1 to judge the story. It's not a lot. There is a lot more story in the next levels. Actually, I said there wasn't a plot twist, but there is. Like, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna give you a hint. I don't know how many of you guys are here. 3 on YouTube. And how many on Twitch? 9. Yeah, I can tell you that for the story, there is some link between... Why is the music stopping? Oh. Okay. I hope you guys are still there and that it's just my music who decided to stop for some reason. Okay. Okay. Well, it's gonna be silent. But yeah, there is a link between my game and the previous game I made, Last in Space. No, it wasn't really my first game, as I said at the beginning of the stream. But yeah, if you take a look at it, you will see some things that are related. And I'm gonna be actually, that's still a secret, but I'm gonna be re-releasing Last in Space after Dawnfolk, when I'm done with Dawnfolk. I'm gonna update a few things and put it on Steam because it did a pretty decent job at giving me money on itch.io without any marketing. So I'm hoping that just by getting it on Steam and, you know, sharing it a little bit, I'm hoping that more people will get their eyes on it. I'm not sure why the music is stopped. But anyway, we're done. We're basically done. I'm really tired. so I'm not gonna start working on the game. It's already 6 p.m. here, so I think I'm gonna take a break, maybe walk a little, and start my evening. So let me put my face in big as we finish this up. So thank you very much, guys, for coming. I see you next Monday for the next stream, and we're gonna talk about interesting stuff, because yeah, the game is, we're closing in on the ending. Yeah, we'll have a few cool stuff to talk with you about later. So yeah, see you guys.